News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, voters in Anambra State take to the polls to choose their next governor in an election widely described as peaceful and orderly. Candidates in the Anambra governorship race allege vote buying at a coalition of civil rights groups report low voter turnout in several areas. Police attribute the peace recorded in the Anambra polls to the coordinated efforts of the force and other security operatives involved in the process. And 6 people have been reported dead as Russia strikes energy and residential targets in Ukraine.
And on business news, the Forex Bank projects Africa's rice market to climb from $24 billion to $29.2 billion by 2030 on improved local production.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles coach Eric Schell unveils 24-man squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs in Morocco.
The people of Anambra State have gone to the polls to shape the next chapter of their political future. 16 candidates are in the race, appealing to over 2.8 million registered voters spread across 21 local government areas and more than 5,000 polling units. But the voting exercise has not been without controversy. Allegations of vote buying, intimidations, and attempts to sway the process have emerged from candidates and independent observers. A coalition of civil rights groups deployed over 700 observers statewide, reporting low voter turnout in several areas. Meanwhile, election monitoring body Yaga Africa says political parties themselves may be responsible for the voter apathy seen today, urging stronger engagement and mobilization efforts ahead of future polls. As sorting and counting begins, all eyes now turn to the collation centers and the waiting game for who will lead Anambra for the next 4 years. There were reports of early voter turnout in some areas and allegations of vote buying in others during the Anambra governorship election today. Civil society organizations also deployed observers to monitor the conduct of the polls, calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to uphold transparency and credibility. Our correspondent, Charles Okurum, monitored the exercise in some parts and has this report.
In parts of Anambra, the atmosphere is calm but busy as voters file out to exercise their franchise in the governorship election. At the Nkwo Ibuku market in Agwata, some traders seem unfazed by the statewide exercise, displaying their wares as polling continues elsewhere. At the Central School, Oto, in Inewi South local government area, there is a decent voter turnout, though a mild drama unfolds when a party agent follows a voter to the cubicle, prompting objections from observers.
We saw that party mercenaries actually collecting people's cards, giving the INEC will give them form to vote, and when they vote, they give it back to party mercenaries who will drop it in the ballot box, and they are buying and selling vote, actually negotiating. It's sad.
Elsewhere in Awka, the state capital, the roads are largely deserted. At the military checkpoint near the Stanel gas axis on the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, security personnel insist on enforcing movement restrictions as election materials and officials make their way to polling units. Monitoring groups report mixed developments across several areas, from late arrival of materials at Nnamdi Azikiwe University to smoother operations at Dunukofia, where INEC officials receive commendations.
It has been calm. The people are eager to come out, but I don't know the percentage. We're looking at maybe between 15, a little bit above what we had 4 years ago, because the kind of insecurity and tension we had last year is not, 4 years ago, it's not there now. But this morning we have gone round. We have seen that INEC officials did not arrive on time. So likely there's going to be a slight late opening of polls.
In Isuofia, the hometown of one of the leading candidates, this 80-year-old retired teacher, Mrs. Justina Oliobi, defies age to cast her vote, a symbolic show of civic duty and growing calls for electoral integrity.
No, I actually want to give immense thanks to the work of the new INEC chairman for the work he's done. We've seen increased level of professionalism and dedication. I remember the last one, it took us, I think, almost at 10 o'clock before we started voting. Voting here started at 8 sharp. All their staff were here, their ad hoc officers were here, and they were very professional about it. They respected everybody, irrespective of whether party affiliation. They wanted to do the job, and it was focused.
From allegations of vote buying to calls for inclusion and transparency, the governorship election in Anambra State reflects both the challenges and hopes of Nigeria's electoral process. Charles Opurum, Channels Television News.
Now, one of the most striking features of today's exercise was the calm and orderly conduct of voters despite fears. Streets and polling units remained peaceful with no reports of violence from agitators or troublemakers. But the day was not without controversy, as several candidates who spoke to Channels Television raised concerns about vote buying and intimidation, highlighting ongoing challenges in ensuring fully free and fair elections.
Under clear skies and pleasant weather, voters in Anambra State turned out in impressive numbers to cast their ballots in the 2025 governorship election. Among the first to vote was the ABGA candidates and incumbent governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, accompanied by his wife, Noye. In just a few minutes, they cast their votes, with Governor Soludo praising the smooth and seamless conduct of the process, even as he accuses an unnamed party of manipulating the process.
The only thing we hear that is actually a concern, and we hope it's not going to happen, is that one party, I don't want to mention the candidate, that their only strategy is that they have written results which they want to swap during the collation process. But we have confidence in the system.
Shortly after casting his vote, APC governorship candidate Nicholas Ukachukwu raised serious concerns about the conduct of the election. He alleged widespread vote buying and claimed that his party agents faced bullying and intimidation at polling units.
In all, if there's no seller, there cannot be a buyer. If nobody's not for selling, nobody will be buying. Some of you accept to sell your conscience even worse than the person who is buying it, because you must donate your right, donate whosoever you are, because that's the right of a citizen. So when you now decide to donate it and somebody takes it, you can't cry foul.
For the African Democratic Congress governorship candidate, John Nwosu, it's an expression of satisfaction with voter turnout at Oduda Central School, Ward 2, Nnewi North, where he cast his ballot. However, Mr. Nwosu did not hold back in criticizing the ruling party, ABGA, accusing them of attempting to manipulate the electoral process.
If you want our democracy and you want good development in our environment, you must shun vote buying. I'm happy that I must commend the activities of the Nigerian police, who every report that I have sent has been investigated and yielded the result in catching some of them.
And then, Labour Party governorship candidate George Mohalu exercised his franchise earlier today, joining other candidates in casting his vote. But, like his opponents, Mohalu raised concerns about vote buying and harassment during the electoral process.
Well, there's one unfortunate thing I noticed, and that is the fact that there's a lot of vote buying. The process has become monetized.
Despite these challenges, observers and officials agree that the November 8 Anambra governorship election has been largely peaceful and orderly, with a strong security presence and notable improvement in the overall management of the polls.
On the election, as early reports indicate that the day was marked by low turnout and operational hiccups. Eyewitness accounts from Onitsha South and North show voter apathy in full glare, while polling units struggled to open on time. Our correspondent, Itope Kuteri, reports that many streets remained busy with everyday lives. Shops opened for business, with youths even playing football instead of casting their ballots.
It's election day in Anambra State, a day long anticipated by residents eager to decide who will lead the state into its next political chapter. From the state capital, Oka, towards Anambra North, including Onitsha South and Onitsha North, streets that are usually bustling with life lie eerily quiet. Movement restrictions and a heavy security presence have cleared the roads, with officers stationed strategically to enforce order and ensure a smooth election process. The atmosphere is tense but orderly as the state prepares for a pivotal vote that will determine its next leadership. In Ogbunike, Oyi local government area, only a few residents have opened their shops, conducting limited business as election day unfolds. Meanwhile, in Onitsha, the commercial heartbeat of Anambra State, Upper Iweka Road, normally alive with people and traffic, is eerily silent. Approaching the Head Bridge, barricades and a strong security presence ensure strict adherence to election regulations. Along Port Harcourt Road, near polling units 010 to 014, a handful of voters wait patiently for late arriving election officials, while some youths trade the ballot for a quick game of football, highlighting the mix of anticipation and apathy on streets today.
There is good citizens. You're supposed to go and vote to get somebody who staying in their house doesn't show any good results. So you have to go out and vote so that you can have a better person to run the state.
At Onitsha's main market, usually a bustling hub of Southeast trade, shutters remain down as election day keeps the crowd away. Yet, some traders near polling units have turned out, eager to cast their votes. For them, participating is more than duty. It's a civic responsibility and an opportunity to contribute to the progress and future of Anambra State.
So most of us here are members of the market. Most of us registered here, but we are not living around here. So we trace from the place we are living to come and vote at that unit. That's why we are waiting here.
We are looking forward to see our people come out in mass to vote for the candidate of their choice. So we urge people to come out and demonstrate their rights. Because when you choose a good candidate, you get work done.
In Odapu Ward 4, Onitsha South, voting unfolded peacefully and in an orderly manner. With ballots cast, attention now turns to the counting process as election officials begin collating results. Observers on ground, including Ibijoke Faborede, CEO of Elect commended generally peaceful conduct, but notes that improved logistics could boost voter participation in future elections.
The process is still ongoing. I think it's from processes like this that we can assess the functionality, the efficiency, the level of accountability of this institution. We are hoping that because as observers, having us on the field means that we can collect actual and factual data and we can point to certain locations. Our job is just to observe and share this information. So we are hoping that different institutions that should carry out some form of compliance check or or punitive measure can also draw in from this and work with our factual evidence as well to ensure that, we can bring these people to the books. Again, the electoral process, improves when people actually see that the law takes its course.
Across the state, as collation continues at various centers, residents of Anambra wait anxiously, knowing today's outcome will decide the next leader and shape the future of their state. Ejitokpakute, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, police attribute the peace recorded in Anambra polls to the coordinated efforts of the force and other security agencies involved in the election. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Voters in Anambra State take to the polls to choose their next governor in an election widely described as peaceful and orderly. Candidates in the Anambra governorship race allege vote buying as a coalition of civil rights groups report low voter turnout in several areas. Police attribute the peace recorded in the Anambra polls to the coordinated efforts of the force and other security agencies involved. And 6 people have been reported killed as Russia strikes energy and residential targets in Ukraine. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Kayode Adedola, has asked the newly appointed INEC boss to deliver on his first assignment. While speaking on Channels Television's special program Anambra Decides 2025, he emphasized that there is no room for excuses because the people of Anambra State expect the best from INEC.
We have a new INEC chairman, Professor Amokuton, senior advocate of Nigeria, and this is his first test or baptism of fire. He has given us assurances that the elections will be properly conducted and there will be transparency, and he'll give it everything he can. So those are promises. Now my concern is, has he had ample time to review the processes, to review the material, and to review what should and should not be done, such that he can beat his chest and say for sure that the election in Anambra State today will be one that we shall all be very proud of. But given his assurances, I believe that he'll do what he can in this situation and give us a result or outcome that we will all be very proud of. I don't have any reason to doubt the integrity of Professor Amokuton, who I have every reason to believe that he's an upright person and he will do his utmost. But then again, when you refer to other INEC commissioners in various states and at the center, well, they are the same people who have conducted elections, and a lot of people have complained. Now, don't forget, elections are very touchy issues for us in Nigeria, and many people look at these elections as do or die. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be so, but then again, that's what we have. And so not many people are going to be willing to accept excuses or reasons from Professor Amokuton. But then again, I'm very hopeful that at the end of the day, even if we have a few lapses here and there, they will not be so bad as to give us concern or as to affect the outcome of the elections.
Meanwhile, election observers who monitored the conduct of the exercise in several areas gave their assessment about it.
The Anambra Election Observation Hub that comprised of the following organizations: Yaga Africa, the Kuka Center, the International Press Center, the Center for Media and Society, CIMESO, the Nigerian Women Trust Fund, Elect Her, TAF Africa, supported by the European Union under the Support to Democratic Governance project, jointly deployed 780 11 citizens observers across the 21 local governments of the state. Nevertheless, voters conducted themselves in a peaceful and orderly manner, reflecting a commendable level of political maturity and commitment to democratic principles. While it is too premature to provide exact turnout rates, our preliminary observation from the partners indicate low voter turnout across local government areas and several local government areas. And as noted in all the pre-election statements that each partner has issued, the apathy witnessed in the build-up to the election appears to have manifested in low turnout on election day.
The Commissioner of Police in charge of the Anambra governorship election, CP Abayomi Shogunle, has been speaking about the conduct of today's exercise, widely described as orderly and peaceful. On our special program, Anambra Decides 2025, he said a lot of planning went into it as there were many meetings with service commanders and other policemen on proper deployment to ensure a hitch-free process.
Despite the fact that there's always a margin of error of 0.5 points or something, generally there is nothing to say that this election has not been peaceful, because there has been almost zero level of incident that was reported. And looking at the turnout again, by the time the full statistics, the full figures are out, this will definitely be the election with the highest number of turnouts in the history of Anambra. What we are seeing now, these are intentional outcomes. We planned for it to be like this, and that's why we are having it, or we are getting this result. We put in certain measures in place to make sure that we arrive at this point we are, and that is why we are at this point we are. And this happened based on strategic planning, collaboration with stakeholders, including INEC and all the security agencies. We started putting these things in place physically like 3 months ago, including the clearance of the pre-election clearance operation we had that ended just 1 or 2 days to the election. We were able to identify those that will cause problem, and we remove them from circulation, and that's why we are here. The citizens saw this, they felt, not only seeing, they felt the atmosphere of peace, and that's why we saw a lot of people coming out to vote.
More updates regarding the Anambra governorship elections as soon as we get them, but we move to Taraba State now, where residents are also voting was to elect new chairmen and councillors to occupy the 16 local government areas and 168 ward executives in the state. However, only the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has filed candidates for the local government polls. Vehicular movements were restricted, but there were no security operatives to enforce this, as markets and other business activities continue as usual. Some residents revealed that they were not even aware of the council polls, while some stakeholders shared their views about the exercise.
I'm so happy today, for the first time in Jalingo, we were able to have a candidate that have been embraced by everybody. Everybody is happy. That's why we are going to the election without any contest. The election was peaceful, and there is a little bit, there's a massive come out, and we are so happy.
Well, we thank God the election is going peacefully, and for the first time in Jalingo, almost all of us have agreed with our candidate. He has become a consensus candidate, and today we have voted for him.
So them stories now. In response to the rising wave of banditry and coordinated attacks in some parts of the Northwest region, directors of the Department of State Security Services in the region met in Kaduna State to review operational frameworks. The meeting signals a renewed urgency to contain criminal gangs disrupting farming, transportation, and community life in the region. The meeting, which was attended by the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security, who represented the governor, underscored the importance of intelligence-led operations in the region.
The conference room at the Kaduna State Command of the Department of State Security Services, DSS, is hosting some of the most senior intelligence officers in Nigeria's northwest region to this security meeting.
And I'm your compere for this event.
The conference brings together directors of the DSS from the 7 states in the northwest, representatives from the Federal Capital Territory, Niger and Plateau states, as well as other sister security agencies. The crux is how to strengthen intelligence gathering and reinforce joint response mechanisms in the region.
Some of the issues in the southwest and some of these states, they will be bedeviled with security challenges. Some of them, such as kidnapping, banditry, farmer elders, clashes, issue of illegal migrants, the cross-border crimes, because we know that some of the states in the northwest, they share border with international community like Niger, and a lot of issues are there, because from here we are standing to travel to Niger is just a matter of time. Also, Kebbi State share not only border with Niger, they share border with the Republic of Benin.
Participants also underscore the importance of interagency collaboration to address the menace of banditry and kidnapping in the northwest.
The Department of State Services have been a partner in progress to all of us, other security agencies, as what we always see from them have helped us in achieving all the security achievements that we were able to do in this region, and especially in Kaduna. We are not yet where we want to be, but with gladness in our heart we want to say we are not where we used to be, because of the great and wonderful work that you and your men are doing.
If you are, robbing mines from time to time, there will be, a very significant progress, and also the collaboration is going to work perfectly okay, and then there will be less rancor.
The Kaduna State Governor is represented by the Commissioner for Internal Security, who stressed the importance of prioritizing interagency intelligence gathering.
The convergence of state directors from the Northwest and possibly others around the Northwest zone underscores the DSS commitment to strengthening interstate collaboration, intelligence synergy, and proactive response mechanisms in confronting the dynamic challenges facing our country.
Some of the resolutions from this conference is the need to leverage the successes recorded so far and build stronger collaboration with the communities and traditional institutions for actionable intelligence to address the menace of banditry and kidnapping in the region.
The Public and Private Development Center, PPDC, is leading justice reforms initiatives as it partners with the Federal Capital Territory High Court to introduce digitized filing and case management systems. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Public and Private Development Center, the collaboration has facilitated over 2,000 virtual court sessions, trained judges, prosecutors, and investigators, all aimed at strengthening justice delivery in the country. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, has this report.
Attorneys General from some states across the Federation, judges and legal experts have converged on Abuja for the annual Access to Justice Conference.
Thank you so much, MBA.
The conference aims at building a fair, transparent and accountable justice system in Nigeria, making justice accessible for every Nigerian. The forum also provides an opportunity to retrospect activities in the past year.
And over the years, PPDC has remained at the forefront of driving reforms in Nigeria's justice sector, leveraging technology, partnership, and citizens' engagement to strengthen accountability and fairness. We have also supported the digitization of court processes in the Federal Capital Territory, introducing an electronic filing and case management system that will change how cases are filed and managed in magistrate courts.
The head of Justice, Integrity and Health Unit of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, commends Nigeria's adoption of the UN Common Position on Incarceration, which promotes a shift from punitive to rehabilitative justice.
Nigeria has made commendable strides in implementing the Administration of Criminal Justice Act and laws and the Nigerian Correctional Service Act, strengthening interagency coordination, and embracing global standards. UNODC is proud to have walked alongside Nigeria in its journey to strengthen justice, security, and governance, 3 pillars that are essential to sustainable development and national resilience.
The Correctional Center, which is a focal point of strengthening justice delivery, reaffirmed its commitment to correctional reforms anchored on rehabilitation and reintegration.
For us in the Nigerian Correctional Service, justice is not merely a legal process. It is a moral commitment to human dignity and transformation. Our service continued to pursue correctional reform. They emphasize rehabilitation, reintegration, and restorative justice.
At the end of this conference, these legal experts agreed that justice and security are complementary drivers of peace and progress that needs to be strengthened. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television.
Afreximbank projects Africa's rice market to climb from $24 to $29.2 billion by 2030 on improved local production. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Back, we have more updates on the elections in Anambra State. INEC has uploaded 99.09% of results in the Anambra governorship election on its result viewing portal, IREV. A check by Channels Television on the IREV portal as at 9 p.m. indicates that results from 5,668 polling units have been uploaded on the portal from the 5,720 polling units where the election took place in the southeast state. Now, this is coming barely 4 hours after the exercise held across 21 local government areas in Anambra State. Now, to tell us more about that and other issues, we'll go live to Oka in Anambra State, where the resident electoral commissioner, Queen Elizabeth Agu, joins us live. A pleasure having you with us on the News at 10.
Thank you so much.
I know it's really been a long day. You must be exhausted. Well, can you just give us your general overview about today's exercise?
Actually, for the interest of viewers, I am Dr. Queen Elizabeth Agu, the resident electoral commissioner of Anambra State. We are very grateful to God who made it possible for us to see this day. The long-awaited day has come, and is a very good outing. On the general note, things went on very well. INEC deployed early enough in barely all the polling units. There were enough security. The beavers worked perfectly well in all the PUs. The people turned out en masse to vote. We had a very good weather, so everything worked for our good in the election acting.
Well, Dr. Agu, some of the areas monitored by our correspondents who went through the length and breadth of Anambra State today report delays in arrival of election materials, officials, and a few operational hiccups. Can you speak about that? Because you said everything was fine, mostly fine, I think.
Please, Come again.
Okay, several areas monitored by our correspondents across Anambra State. There were a couple of reports about, late arrival of officials and a few operational hiccups. Can you tell us more about that?
For us who are in the situation room, I didn't go to the field. I couldn't have gone. I didn't get information about late arrival of materials. And I was watching all through, monitoring from the situation room. There was no information of late arrival of materials. Except I don't know, I don't have to doubt you, but I didn't know where you got your own information.
What about the issue of vote buying, intimidation, and harassment? Did you get any reports about that?
Definitely, when the two most strong candidates went to vote, they mentioned the issues of, I was watching from the situation room, they mentioned the issue of vote buying. But luckily, or as in Nigeria, like I told them while I was educating the people, I was always on radio and television, talking to the people, enlightening our people. I made it frantically clear that if you want to give us information, be available with facts and figure. For instance, I'm an accountant. We don't talk theories, we talk fact and figure. Vote buying is a very serious offense in an election. And it's a legislative matter. So, if you want to say somebody is vote buying, get us some little evidence. You don't just come to television and say there are vote buying activities all over the place, and you are asked to mention just one. You can't mention it. I've told us if you want to give us facts, INEC is ready to prosecute anybody that is caught vote buying. But are you providing us with the facts and figure? If you provide us with the facts and figure, we are good. So I heard it as you heard it, that there is vote buying. Mention one place. We didn't hear one place. All our staff, the NGOs, both international and national observers who were everywhere coming to me, no one told me they saw any area where there is vote buying. So to me, it's a rumor. And the rumors don't thrive with me.
Agu, can you speak to the issue of low voter turnout in some parts? I noticed our correspondent, Equities, went to an area where even the youths were playing football instead of going to exercise their franchise.
I cannot talk of low voter turnout when the result is not fully collated. We work out the percentage of voter turnout based on the result on ground. That is the fact. If we get the result by tomorrow next, I'll be giving us, INEC will be giving Nigerians accurate report on voter turnout. Because if you check by what we saw from the situation in the room, in the television and the rest of the places, there were heavy turnout in the early hours of the day.
Resident Electoral Commissioner of Anambra State, Dr. Queen Elizabeth Agu, thank you so much for speaking with us on the News at 10. We really appreciate you.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Now, still on the Anambra polls, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 3 suspected vote buyers in various parts of the state. A statement on the Anti-Graft Commission's X handle says that the suspects are Emeka Ilokasia, arrested at Ward 2 in Ijikoka local government area, Wachuku Loretta, arrested at Ward 2, 008 in Oyi local government, then Emuka Chukudi, arrested in Munachi village, Dunukofia local government area. The EFCC adds that all the suspects were arrested while participating in the governorship elections held today and will be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. Out to other stories, the Edo State government has set up a special committee on the Museum of West African Art, MOWA, with a mandate to interface with critical international stakeholders to ascertain the true legal and operational status of the museum, amongst other responsibilities. The committee was constituted following concerns and petitions surrounding the museums, in particular requests made by the Oba of Benin, Oba Ewuare II, during his royal visit to the governor, Monday Okwebolo, recently. Our correspondent, Jessica Olokosere, has this report.
It's an exciting atmosphere as the Edo government officials, including commissioners, special advisors, and heads of agencies, gather to witness a historic moment. The royal visit of His Royal Majesty Omonobane Ukwu Akpolokpolo Oba Ewuare II to the Governor Monday Okwebolo-led administration at the Festival Hall of the Government House in Benin City, the state capital. The event begins with prayers, seeking blessings for the governor, government, and the entire state. After the prayers, the INEC theatre troupe pays tribute to His Royal Majesty with captivating song and dance. The Benin monarch takes the podium, appreciating Governor Okpewolo's dedication to duty and encouraging the people to support his administration.
When you combine Akwakomiza, and as they address me, and Ogidigan together, does it not equal to peace, unity, and development? For the state.
The Oba sheds light on the Museum of West African Art, MOWA, seeking government's intervention in addressing alleged misrepresentation surrounding the facility.
The structure that is standing there was actually supported by foreign donors and the goodwill of the Oba of Benin to build a royal museum, the Benin Royal Museum. I'm therefore in support of my people who came out a few days ago to protest against MOWA opening of any sort.
In his response, Governor Okpewolo assures the Oba and the people of Edo State that his administration will handle the matter with the utmost care and sensitivity, prioritizing the preservation of the kingdom's rich cultural legacy.
Your Majesty, it was indeed a birthday present to you. It's Benin property, it's your property. And I believe wherever they took this issue to, nobody can defeat you, nobody can win you.
As the visit comes to a close, the state government, in keeping to its promise, swiftly constituted the special committee on MOWA with a mandate to interface with international donor partners and trustees to, among others, ascertain the true legal and operational status of the Museum of West African Art. Jessica Oluguse, Channels Television News.
Respite comes the way of some vulnerable people in Gulak and Madagali local government area of Adamawa State as Governor Umar Fintiri flags off the distribution of relief materials. The gesture is done in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, with a target of providing support to 2,500 beneficiaries across the state, some of whom are victims of insurgency and flooding. Performing the ceremony, Governor Fintiri reiterated his administration's commitment to tackle the root cause of poverty and provide empowerment to the people.
This intervention by the Adamawa State government is in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme to bring relief to indigent residents in Gulak, the administrative headquarters of Madagali local government area of Adamawa State. This is one of the communities affected by insurgency in the past, and the intervention is meant to empower residents to make them financially independent.
A dedicated monitoring team will be deployed to assess progress and performance among beneficiaries, ensuring that the objectives of this intervention are fully achieved.
The state governor is on ground to flag off the program, which includes cash grant of 450 million naira to 1,500 individuals, as well as the distribution of starter packs for empowerment.
These kids, this money that are given to you is not for you to go and resell it. It is given for you to use it, benefit yourself, ensure that you get out of poverty, so that by next year you should be empowering other people.
Having suffered devastating effects of flooding and insurgency in the past, this intervention no doubt brought some relief to residents in Madagali Local Government Area Council.
I will say this has taken our people out of poverty, because 2,250 people empowered to this extent in our own chiefdom is something that is worth reckoning. Your Excellency, we thank you very much.
My life before has never been easy. I'm just homeless, doing nothing. But thank God today, by the support of our governor, Ahmadu Umar Fintiri, by his support now, I'm really happy. I really appreciate his support towards all the items that he offered to us now. By the grace of God, I have something to do now.
The state government has also promised to extend similar interventions to other local government areas in the state to build resilience and boost the livelihood of the vulnerable people in the state.
Find out what's happening in the world of business. Ladi Williams has details.
Thanks, Melinda. Well, in business, the African Export-Import Bank says it expects Africa's rice market to grow to an estimated $29.2 billion by 2030, up from $24 billion in 2024. According to its latest commodity bulletin, the multilateral finance institution says the increase would reflect a compound annual growth rate of 4%. However, the bank noted that despite encouraging improvements in local rice production, the continent continues to rely heavily on imports to satisfy its fast-rising consumption needs. Meanwhile, analysts say that the expected $5 billion expansion in the continent's rice market within the next 5 years marks a clear opportunity for private investors and agri-tech firms to tap into that market. And to the foreign exchange market now, transactions on the FMDQ exchange ended the first week of November with an 11.89% week-on-week decline, closing at $1.66 billion as of Friday, November the 7th. This was largely attributed to the decline in the total turnover at both the FX spot and derivatives markets. The week-on-week decrease in total turnover was driven by an 11.69%, about $219 million decrease in FX spot transactions, while the drop in FX derivatives turnover was slowly driven by the 46% decline in FX forwards turnover. Meanwhile, Nigeria's gross Forex reserve has climbed for the 17th consecutive week to $43.30 billion as of November the 5th, after growing by $153.75 million week on week. And to the equities market now, we ended the first trading week of November on a bearish note, closing lower in all 5 trading sessions of the week. Both the market's benchmark index and equities capitalization ended the week lower by more than 2%, following a mixture of profit-taking activities, investor caution amid recent Nigeria-US diplomatic strains, as well as reallocation of capital to the fixed income market. Sectoral performance was broadly negative across the key counters of the NGX, particularly on the insurance sector index. NCR was top among 19 other gainers. Sovereign Trust led 74 other losers, while the trio of Fidelity Bank, FCMB, and Access Savings were the major contributors to a lower total of 3.57 billion shares traded this week. And the Treasury bills secondary market traded with mixed sentiment across instruments this week, as bullish activity dominated the NTB segment as investors sought to fill unmet bids from the primary auction On the other hand, the Omo curve witnessed mild sell-offs driven by investor jitters following President Trump's recent comments on Nigeria's security situation. Consequently, the average yield across all instruments advanced by 3 basis points week on week to 19.7%. By segment, NTB yields fell by 7 basis points to 17.4%, while Omo yields rose by 15 basis points to 22.2%. Meanwhile, traders anticipate stronger demand for treasury bills, which should exert mild downward pressure on yields amid sustained system liquidity. And for the FGN bond secondary market, it traded with bullish sentiments driven by demand from portfolio managers. As a result, the average yield declined by 12 basis points week on week to 15.8%. Across the curve, the average yield decreased by 16 basis points at the short segment and 16 basis points at the mid-segment, following demand for the January 2026 and July 2034 bonds, while it closed flat at the long segment of the market. Traders expect the robust liquidity position to sustain demand for bonds, and that will exert mild downward pressure on yields. And the business around the world preparing themselves for another round of Donald Trump's tariffs, this time on goods ranging from bicycles to baking trays, as U.S. industry embraces a call for more products to tax on imports. The latest request for tariffs on products with steel elements came before 21st October deadline set by the U.S. Commerce Department, the second consultation in 3 months. Experts say companies asking for products to be added to the first list of steel derivative tariffs in August had a near 100% success rate, fueling fears that most of the items now being proposed will take the latest list and hit exporters in December or January. And that's it on business news. It's back to Melinda with the rest of News at 10.
And thanks, Daddy. On the international scene, at least 6 people have died after Russia launched hundreds of missile and drone strikes on energy infrastructure and residential targets in Ukraine overnight. A strike on an apartment building in the city of Dnipro killed 2 people and injured 12, while 3 died in another location. In all, 25 locations across Ukraine, including the capital city Kiev, were hit, leaving many areas without electricity and heating. On Telegram, the Prime Minister, Yulia Surodenko, said major energy facilities were damaged in several regions and work is on the way to fix it. However, in Russia, the Defense Ministry said its forces had shot down 79 Ukrainian drones overnight. The Philippines is bracing for the arrival of yet another devastating typhoon, less than a week after a different storm killed at least 200 people and left a trail of destruction in its wake. Fungwon, locally known as Yuwon, is forecast to intensify to a super typhoon with sustained winds of at least 185 kilometers per hour before making landfall on the island of Luzon. Officials say Typhoon Fungwon would be even stronger than its predecessor, Kalmagi, which hit the country on Tuesday. According to the Philippine Meteorological Service, PAGASA, the storm will also bring heavy rain and risk of life-threatening diseases. And from the latest in the world of sports, here's Kelly Giga.
Many thanks indeed, Melinda. Athletes from Plateau State dominated this year's Ikogosi Marathon in Ekiti State. Leah Jiang emerged winner in the men's category, while Blessing Solomon was the first woman to cross the finish line. The 17.5 kilometers marathon successfully drew a massive field of over 6,000 athletes from 7 countries, which includes Nigeria, Kenya, and China, to Ekiti State. The race aims to serve as a platform for promoting physical fitness, attracting investment, and boosting tourism in Nigeria's local economy.
And I really thank God for giving me this first position. I'm grateful to see myself among the winners. I have a future plan. If this race will continue, I will go and keep pushing, keep training again to see I defend my title.
If the government can do like the way they are doing Kenyans, we can beat Kenyans once. We don't have anything. We are just trying our best for making everything possible for us.
It's not my first time. The prayer is that I want to go higher.
I was surprised to see that we registered over 6,000 runners in this edition. Compared to 2019, we had about 3,000 runners. It just shows that the culture, the lifestyle is growing on the people of Ekiti State. So for us, we're impressed, and we hope that going forward, we take key learnings from this particular year so we can apply those lessons into subsequent years so that Ekiti can, the Kogusi Marathon can compete with marathons globally.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Shell has released Nigeria's 24-man list for next week's 2026 FIFA World Cup African Playoff Tournament in Rabat, Morocco. Let's walk you through that list. Now, Stanley Wabali leads in goal. Amaz Obasoje and Maduka Okoye are the goalkeepers in the squad. The defenders now, Captain William Truce Ekong leads the pack. Calvin Bassi, Olua Shemilogo Ajayi, Bright Osayi Samuel, Bruno Yamachi, Chido Zeawazie, Zaidu Sanusi, and Benjamin Fredericks. In midfield, Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, Al Hassan, Yusuf, Wilfred Ndidi, and Rafael Onyedika made the list. The star-studded forward line includes Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Samuel Chukwueze, Simon Moses, Chidera Ejoku, Tolu Aroko Dare, and Ako Adams, as well as Olakunle Olusegun. Let's turn now to the Premier League, where Manchester United secured a dramatic point against Tottenham Hotspur in a Premier League spectacle defined by late goals and high emotion. The visitors initially seized control when Brian Mbomo headed home a precise cross from Amad Diallo, and then Spurs equalized 6 minutes from time through Mathis Tel. The drama peaked in stoppage time as Richarlison, the Brazilian, appeared to have won the game for Spurs with his goal. However, Matheus de Ligt redeemed himself by finding the net from an acute angle with the very last touch of the game. Well, that's sports. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to Melinda.
Thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. Voters in Anambra State have taken to the polls to choose their next governor in an election widely described as peaceful and orderly. Candidates in the Anambra governorship race have alleged vote buying as a coalition of civil rights groups reported low voter turnout in several areas. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Kilami on behalf of the team. Good night.